Karen, we are still getting more and more suicides. Why?
I'm going to simplify it, Rob, and keep it to two main reasons. Reason number one is our sense of self-worth or value is tied to what we have. For instance, often people I'll say to my clients, well, finish the sentence for me. I'm good enough if, or I'm good enough when. And the answers I get are like, well, if I've got a partner who loves me, or if I've got a house, or if I've got a good job, or if I've got this much income. And the problem with that is if we haven't got that, then consequently we're not good enough.
And we're not happy.
And we're not happy. And of course, if we, we all have ups and downs in life. But if your sense of self-worth is tied to what is or isn't happening, then you're never going to be happy when there's a down.
So everybody right now, right at this minute, should be saying, I am happy because
I'm good enough just as I am. I don't need to have this to be good enough. I am good enough as I am. For instance, often I'll say to my clients, if you won lotto today, would you be a better person tomorrow? And they go, no, of course not. I'll be the same person. And I say to them, well, if you went bankrupt today and lost your relationship as well, and lost everything, would you be a worse person tomorrow? And they desperately want to say yes, but they can't because I've just said no to the question about winning lotto.
That's a trick way of putting it, isn't it? But what you're doing is saying to them, look in the mirror.
Yeah, because I say to them, look, you would be a person with less, but you wouldn't be less of a person. And the problem is people who commit suicide are tying their sense of self-worth to what they've got or what they've achieved, and they feel like they're not good enough. And when we feel not good enough, it's very hard to get out of that place if we haven't got the skills to do so.
Thank you, because you're actually making a lot of sense, and a lot of people will be starting to relate to this, because you get a young farmer, married, children, and all of a sudden he goes and does something stupid. What we call stupid, but he's a passenger at that point.
Yes, he's possibly thinking, well, what will my friends, my colleagues think? What will people will judge me? Because if we judge ourselves, we just assume that other people will judge us just as harshly, but normally we judge ourselves more harshly than anyone else. And if we think that we're not good enough, what's the point of carrying on?
Okay, because I mean this is a very sensitive thing, and there will be people who are watching here who, unbeknown to us, will be sitting there thinking, what method am we going to use, or what method am I going to use? So ask themselves.
I think we've got to ask ourselves, what makes you good enough? And I almost want to sort of do the whole inverted bracket
absolutely,
thing, because
your
your
brackets,
idea of good enough, it will be different from mine. If we ask 10 different people, they'll have a different idea of what good enough is. But I mentioned, Rob, that there was two main reasons why people will commit suicide. And I want to cover the second reason in case we run out of time. Second reason is your level of happiness before we start. Because we all have life's up and downs, right? But if my level of happiness is quite high and I get a down, yes, I'm going to fall, but not too far. And because my level of happiness is quite good, I'm going to bounce back up fairly quickly. But someone whose level of happiness is already low, when a down happens, they're going to fall right to the bottom, and they're not going to know a way of getting back out because they haven't got those skills. So the answer to not, if, say for instance, both of us went through the same horrendous situation, say we both lost our jobs and our relationships, then you and I would behave quite differently, as would, 10 different people in the room would behave differently, because we've all got different starting places. So the answer is to increase your level of happiness and resilience first before the bad times happen.
I found in my history that when things start going wrong, it goes real wrong. You'll get one whack around the ears, and the next thing you know, you get another one and another one and another one. And it always seems to come one after the other. And are we attracting negatives because we are?
We can. If we expect the worst, well, I'm a great believer in the law of attraction. You get what you expect, what you think, what you believe, and what you expect. Researchers have found that people who have a high level of happiness or resilience, when something bad happens, they see it as one part of the jigsaw, not the whole jigsaw. And they see it as short-term, not long-term. Whereas people who have a lower level of happiness when something bad happens, they see it as all-encompassing, like the whole jigsaw, and they see it as long-term and permanent.
Okay, I mean, there's a line that I use, which is, to trip and fall is is life. Getting back up again is living.
Yes.
But it's not easy.
No, it's not. But if you expect that things will get better, which not everyone has that skill, because that's a skill I teach, if you have that skill, you will be able to handle the first clip around the ear hole and the second and the third and still get back up. And people who are committing suicide don't have that ability because no one's taught them how.
Okay, that is a major point. Nobody has taught them, A, to be happy, but B, how to get back up again.
Yes.
And it's, I've been down there, it's black.
Mm-hmm. And it is a learned skill, as we know. You've heard me say that before. Only 10% of your happiness has anything to do with what's happening in your life. So yes, bad stuff happens that's going to bring you down, but that's got only 10% of your happiness. The rest is under your control if you've been taught how. And if your parents didn't teach you, how could you know?
There'll be people waiting for this big flash of light. They're hearing what you're saying. They're saying, yes, you can learn, but they're waiting for the flash of light. What's the flash of light?
Well, if I can give a shameless plug, this is what I help people to do. Go to my website, setfree.co.nz.
Setfree.co.nz.
As in open the cage door and set the bird free, because not everyone understands my my accent, which is a good Kiwi accent, but the Americans and the Australians don't always understand it. So setfree.co.nz, and there's information there about how you can get help. And of course there's my book, shameless plug again, which actually teaches people how to be happy.
Because you can learn.
You can learn, absolutely you can learn. But you need to learn before the bad times. Well, it's not too late if you're going through bad times now, but get help now, don't wait.
Because it's actually really, really important.
You've got to have that high level of happiness and resilience before you get clipped around the ear hole a few times.
The other thing, I guess, is to walk away from drama and those who cause it.
Definitely you want to be around people who are happy. There's some really interesting research that shows that if you live within about 20, this is American research, if you live within about 2 miles of someone who's happy, you are happier. That is weird, right? So if that's true, just your neighbours, it makes more sense to associate yourself with positive, happy people. So when stuff goes wrong, they are also able to help you up and say, look, it's not going to last. Things are going to get better. And this doesn't mean anything about you.
Karen, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.
If we have saved one person's life,
I hope so.
it's been well worth it.